Hello again. In this episode, I'd like to answer a question I recently got, and that is, how do you tilt your camera in DAZ Studio? That's kind of an interesting cinematic effect that's often used. Visually, this is described as the Dutch angle. So that's when lines are kind of, not at a horizontal angle, but kind of tilted towards it. And from a camera point of view, we also call that rolling the camera. Don't know if you've ever heard of these things like yaw, pitch, and roll. I can always remember because in DAZ Studio, the y-axis is up. So that's kind of, if you twist the camera around that, that's yaw. Then you have the up and down thing, that's pitch. And then you have, when the camera goes from left to right like that, that is the roll. So yaw, pitch, and roll, if you've ever heard that. Visually, you can see images like this. This is the Tin Pan Alley from Stonemason. This, you could say, is kind of a straight-ish picture, because this area here is kind of almost lined up with the horizon. And then if you look at an image like this, you see where that is not the case. I mean, there's still lines aligned to something else, but if you look at the horizon line here, that is now kind of, tilted. And what that does visually is really, it gives a certain area of your picture a really interesting visual quality. So if you compare these two, this almost looks boring compared to that. And all it took really to make that happen was literally that little bit of camera roll. And I'll show you how to apply that in DAZ Studio. So there's two ways that you can do this. This is the same set. There's two ways that you can display the view controls in your scene. So these are, I'm usually using the cubed controls. You can tell by the fact that you've got a little cube here that when you right click on it, you can then, move around the selected object. The same is true if you use a shortcut key or if you just left click and drag onto this icon here. But this is also the icon that gives you a little clue as to how you get the rolling controls. So when you hover over it, it says view, when you view, orbit, rotate, and bank. So rolling and banking the camera is the same. And that is done by holding the control button and right clicking and dragging on that logo. That is how you do that. So control, right click and drag on this little top icon here. That will roll or bank your camera. There we go. That is how you make that Dutch angle happen. There is another way. In case your view controls don't look like this, you might use the docked controls, and you can change between them by heading over to this little hamburger icon. Not this one, but this one here, like literally where you next to where you're selecting the actual camera or your view. If you click that, left click that, there's a choice between cubed view controls and docked view controls. So if you use the docked view controls, then your viewport will look like this, and you will have the way your viewport is drawn over here, and you have the camera controls at the top, kind of docked as it says. And you have a separate icon. If you're using the docked view controls, there's a separate icon for this, for bank, and that's this one. So this is kind of orbit or rotate. This is pan, left, right, up and down. This is zoom in and out, and this is in fact the banking control. So you can just left click and drag on that, and then that'll make that happen. There we go. And if ever you wanted to change back, you now have to use the hamburger icon that is over here. It's a little bit complicated, isn't it? But yes, this is it. If you click on this, then you can change back from the docked view controls into your cubed view controls, in case you want to ever switch over and then use the control and right click on this button here, on this icon, shall I say. And there you have it. That is how you use the rolling controls or the banking controls inside DAZ Studio. So either control right click on this, or you use the docked view controls. I hope this was helpful. If you liked this video, then please share it, of course, with friends, family, and total strangers, also fellow 3D enthusiasts. And I will see you in the next video. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.